maintenance. I'm going to be doing a easy kind of dimensional look. It's considered a partial service, but this is like the technique I do a lot in the salon that it's just, I don't know, it's fast and easy in my opinion. So I'm going to start off by mixing up the blonde eyeliner, and I'm going to start with Tint volume. She is a level 7 naturally, so she's going to lift super easy. So that's not a worry there. The blonde eyeliner, it does lift up to 9 levels, and it's my go-to lightener that I use for almost anything. So I'm going to show you how to balayage with it and foil with it. So like most other lighteners nowadays, you're going to mix it at a 1-to-2 ratio. So we're going to be doing 30 grams of lightener with 60 grams of our developer. I'm also going to add in Passport, which we all know for lightener is 3 mLs per 10 grams of lightener. So in that first bowl, we're going to be using 9 mLs. Does anybody want to mix it for me? No? No? That's fine. That's fine. I'll mix it then. So the blonde eyeliner has become one of my favorite lighteners. It's a really good, just like general workhorse. It's good for a lot of things. The only disadvantage is it doesn't come with a scoop. So either save one or find one. So we're going to start off using Tint volume, which we will get a good amount of lift. Especially with her being a natural level 7, it's not going to be super hard to do. But you can still get 9 levels of lift on a different canvas starting level with Tint volume. It just depends on how slow you foil. Oh yeah. When I'm taking somebody that's like a natural level 3 to a 10, I foil their hair for about 2 hours. So I'll start like with a Tint volume in the back and then like work my way up to 25. Maybe 30 if I'm feeling a little impatient. Yes, please. And then by then, after about 30 minutes, it should have all lifted to the same level. Oh yeah, that's fine.
How many?
We're gonna do 9.
Alright.
So for this technique today, I'm going to be starting in the front. You can already see I have her sectioned. It would normally be 3 sections, but she has bangs, so it's going to be a 4th section. So we're kind of customizing it to fit what her haircut looks like. So you can go down. So you just have your standard like middle mohawk that I go off of their part. So sometimes this side will be bigger than this side on the sides. That way, whenever she wears it, it'll just naturally fall evenly. It won't look like super blonde and then like no blonde. Okay. And we're gonna leave the back natural for that depth because we are creating a dimensional blonde. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you can rinse it off if you don't mind. So personally, when I'm starting, if there is a bigger side, I like to start on the bigger side because you're going to be a little slower on that side than the smaller one, so you can get more done. So we'll start right here. Let's take a little slice. And we're going to pull this away from the face, and we're going to do a fine weave on her part. And we're going to clip this back up, and we're going to highlight what's around her face. And you wanna make sure that this weave is very fine, that you're able to see through it, because you don't wanna have any big blots like around her hairline. So as you can see with the blonde dye, I kind of just go in, start a 1/2 inch down, work it all the way down, and then come back up and make sure I got it really well on the root area. But what I like about it is that it has a nice creamy consistency, so it just stays where you put it, even if you like mess around with the foil a little bit.
Un volumen 10.
Es que hay azul y
Sí.
And after we get her foils done, I will kind of go over like some of the colors that we're choosing, and go over some of the other products we have too. So going in with the second weave, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna hold it back tight, and we're gonna weave this one, and we're also going to highlight this. So it's technically like a back-to-back weave. This is going to give us a little maximum brightness around the face, but also keep it very diffused.
This is toda la información.
And by keeping my sections really thin and saturating it thoroughly, that's going to give us the most amount of lift. Alright, so we're going to take the next one. And then for this one, we're going to do a teasy light. To create that brightness, but diffused. Alright, and then we're gonna start, like once we finish that, we're gonna start to pivot the section. So we're gonna still go diagonal back, but we're gonna start turning our comb more horizontal as we move up with her head. So you're kind of highlighting, like, and following the curve of the head. That way it's going to lay more natural, and you're not gonna have a super, like, patterny look. So see, we're still taking very fine sections. You can definitely read through it. we are still applying the same pattern, going up around the head shape, thoroughly saturating. What liner are y'all using right now? Like, do y'all use anything from here?
Oh, no, I'm new on this, so.
Oh, okay.
I haven't done any colors yet.
I use Eclipse.
Of course you do. You use charcoal highlighter?
I do.
So I know what you're thinking, you're like, well, you're leaving out quite a bit of hair and you're taking these fine weaves. Isn't everything just going to blend together and you're not gonna see a difference? Normally, yes, that's kind of how that would work. But we're gonna go back and apply some more lightener to the other ends that I leave out in just a minute. So as we're moving up, we're going more horizontal. Alright, so we have one side already foiled. So we still have like a lot of hair left out. We're gonna mix another bowl of the blonde dye, but I'm gonna mix it with 20 volume this time. It's pretty warm in here, so I think 20 volume would have a
You
good
wanna
amount.
help you?
Huh?
You wanna help me?
Yeah, go ahead. You can just do 30 grams to 60 grams.
Okay, the 20 volumes.
While she mixes that, I'm just gonna oil a little bit on the other side. So for here, we're just gonna do the exact same thing we did on the other side. You're gonna come off the hairline and just weave, little baby weave. And we did a back to back, and then we did a teasy, and then we went into our normal pattern. Starting out pretty diagonal, and then as we're working our way up, it's gonna turn more horizontal. Following like the natural curve of the head, you're gonna pivot. And since it is pretty warm in here, using 20 volume, the way I'm about to use it will be good, because we'll still get a good amount of lift. It's gonna be open air. If you work somewhere where it's a little bit colder, maybe do 30 volume instead, because the temperature of the air will impact the outcome of the lift. And by choosing to also do a little bit more open air on her ends, you'll find that what's in the foil will have a super clean lift, but what's open air will be a little warmer on the ends.
What size is that? 10?
Yes, 10.
Los doblados haciendo de this. The 20 is for the back, right?
The 20 is gonna be the hair that we have left out. I'm gonna do a little open air balayage on it.
Oh, okay.
So that way we're creating a dimensional blonde in a less amount of time. And that's why we did the back-to-back weaves with the teasy light in the front, like in the first 3 sections of these 2 sides, because that's gonna give us a brightness around the face. We're leaving the back untouched because we still want to create depth in her hair too. So that way when she waves it, she has those nice brighter pieces among the depth throughout.
No, you're good.
Do we have a balayage brush? Like a big power painter one? Or just these? So since we already have a lot of brightness around the face, I'm going to leave this one untouched. And when you're clipping foils up, try and find a clip that has a nice flat surface so you don't accidentally puncture a hole in your foils. Alright, so we're going to take this, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, a little tease back, 1, 2, 3. Make sure you don't hold it too tight at the ends, so that way you actually get a nice smooth tease and not like a rat's nest. So you want to make sure you're really blending it towards the top and then saturating the ends. That's what's going to give you a great lift on the ends. And make sure you keep a clean towel like to the side so you can wipe your hands off. So we'll keep this one out for depth and then move on to the next one. One, two, three. And if you even have an assistant, you can have them like hold the comb right there for you. I don't have that luxury right now. I prefer using my hand to blend upward and just over the years realized that it just works for me. It makes it a little easier.
Se me hace más fácil estar aquí.
So as we move up here where the sections get a little thicker, we'll probably cut that in half. So how I'm gonna do that is we're just gonna do a little weave here at the bottom. And by creating that weave, it'll automatically create a tease towards the top, and then we'll tease it back. 1, 2, 3. And by doing all these like little extra steps, that's gonna give you a very blended look without having to use like your hands or the brush or anything like that to blend. It'll all be pretty seamless. And you can already tell like the piece that we started with is already lifted about a level. Alright, and now we'll just do the same thing on the other side.
Sí, porque no, ves que no lo tienen.
Opens up the sinuses.
Yeah. It does have a fragrance. Especially when you start doing that. One of the things I love about being pregnant and doing blonding is when I pull the foils out and it's like, fuck it. I was being sarcastic. I don't really love that. No, it's really not.
Dependiendo del nivel que traiga. Dependiendo si lo tenemos que. Pero ya es bueno. Y de verdad antes. So I'm going to use the rest of our
lightener mixed with tin volume for her bang area. Now there we're just gonna do a super fine weave. You know, you don't want her to have like blonde bangs and like natural hair everywhere else. That's a little silly. I mean, unless that's your thing, you know. And then we'll use the rest of our 20 volume and lightener on the top section.
Solo nivel en la parte de arriba.
So, since I'm pregnant now, I have to get like weirdly personal with them when I do the front. So I just gotta like kind of straddle them a bit. Jeremiah doesn't mind doing this to his clients, but it's a little weird
do it
for me.
what?
Straddling.
Oh, girl, you know me. Just remember, you can move your client and you can move your body.
Estoy de acuerdo. Pueden mover su frente, pueden mover el cinturón.
These foils are looking very, very good, Gavin.
My tank, I've had practice.
That's only how she pays the bills.
I only highlight all my clients basically.
You're almost as good as the director of education.
Just with more hair.
On your back. So, Catherine, what do you charge for something like this?
So for something like this, depending on like if they get a haircut or not or anything like that, they're typically spending about $260 to $300.
Okay.
So this is considered, I would consider this a partial, either a baby light, depending on how much I actually tip out their ends, or a foliage if I have to place foil. For me, a partial balayage would be literally like no foils in the hair.
So you said 260 to 300?
Yeah, and that will cover
Is that including the haircut or
the
not?
haircut, the shadow root, the toner, and all the lightner style.
So you do an all-inclusive pricing, which means you do your toner, everything's all priced together.
Yes, now online, I have my pricing set a la carte, but like whenever I quote them, I give them all included package price.
Great. So my next question for you is, when you're booking this sort of session out in the computer, because time is important for us, time is money. How do you decide how much time to book in your computer system, and how much time would you typically book for this sort of
For
session?
somebody like her, or somebody that's naturally lighter and doesn't have a ton of hair, a partial will take me 3, a full will take 4. Now, let's say I have somebody that's,
Right. So a partial will take 3 hours,
yeah,
and a full will
a
take
full
4
would
hours.
take 4 hours.
Okay.
Unless, let's say they're a natural level 3 and have like hair down to here, that's gonna take 5 hours.
And so, how much do you charge for that extra time?
Usually, for me, the extra time is going to be your extra bowls, because that extra time is going to require more product anyway. So that's how I charge for that.
And so a client with less hair, that takes a little less time, would be a comparable decrease in price? So I get a
Yes.
deal for the holidays?
You would be free.
Oh, thanks. I knew you'd love me. So is there anything that you have to look out for or keep in mind when you're doing these sort of clients?
So the technique I'm doing on her right now, I probably would recommend for anybody that's like under a level 5, just because some of the highlighting might get lost in the hair and the open airness will look orange. If they are darker than a level 5, I would probably go ahead and just do a foliage.
Okay.
So that way you get the maximum amount of lip. Now unless they want to be darker toned, that's fine. But most of my clients, they want to be blonde and or like level 8 blonde.
So my next question is this. I mean, I know not all clients are like me, a virgin. But if she had permanent color in her hair, even at this level, would it change your price quote at all? Or is it just pretty much standard, if you're around the level 7, you're pretty good?
So with blonde eye being a 9-level lip liner, at this level, I could guarantee I can get past that, so it wouldn't really matter. Say she was like a level 1 permanent hair color, that would have to be quoted into either an all-day session or session work, because we already know that getting past that permanent color is gonna take time and work. So I would never, if they say they have permanent color in their hair and it's darker than a level 6, I would let them know if they wanna be blonde, it's not going to happen that day. Because past a level 6, the pigments are just harder to work through.
Okay. So you told us that you use pricing where you're doing it all together.
Mm-hmm.
and you told us about the bond builder that you're using. So a lot of people out there have questions about bond builders, or are not familiar with them. Or some of them have heard of Olaplex or B3, but are not familiar with Passport. Do you typically put Passport in all of your lighting services, and is it always included? When do you charge extra for it?
So all of my pricing, again, online is going to be a la carte, but when I quote somebody, I automatically put that into the pricing if their hair needs it, which anybody that has more than one color on their hair needs it, because it's damaged hair. Unless they're natural or only has one single permanent hair color their whole life, that hair is damaged. So I just go ahead and include it.
Okay.
They don't have a choice.
So, you brought up a good point, that your online pricing is a la carte. So what do you do about the client that books a mini partial, I only need a couple of highlights, and they come in a level 1, make me blonde?
Well,
Yeah, we have some people in the audience laughing, but we know we all have had those clients.
Whole day.
My whole day sometimes are those clients back to back. They book 2 highlights. They just put a face frame is all they book, and they're looking at spending $45, and they're a level 1 and want to be platinum blonde. So how do you deal with that? Or do you only accept new clients with consultation? I mean, what do you do, Kathy?
so I am now lucky to where I'm to the spot where I can't fit in new people. But in the past when that has happened, you just have to be honest with them. Like, this is what you booked, this is what I have time for, and if I would have known that your hair was this level and you wanted to, and this was your inspiration, I would have booked you for a different day. Or if they're fine with like you saying, oh, you can only do a face frame, we can get you blonde, but it'll be 2 foils like right here. If they're fine with that, then I mean like go for it.
Okay. Well, not all of us are fancy like Catherine and have full schedules and cannot possibly fit a new person in. I mean, some of us are barely scraping by and we take new clients as we can get them. And if any of you are out there looking for a good stylist, come here because I always need some new clients. Tell us a little bit about your consultation. I mean, I know you did a consultation prior to the class, but I know it's something that a lot of stylists still struggle with. How to explain to clients maybe they won't be platinum ash blonde today, or you know, your service is going to cost a little bit more than the $60 that you thought it was going to. Can you kind of run us through one of your typical consultations?
So typically, like, let's say I'm taking on a new client and they have, I don't know if y'all get this problem, but they'll text you like 50 million questions. I'll just tell them, hey, to answer all your questions, it's best you come in for a consultation, and they are $25, but that will be applied to your service when you come in. So that way I can see their hair, because you know sometimes you can't tell in the pictures that they're sending you what it really looks like. That way you can see it, you can feel it, and you can even do a strand test if you're nervous about it to see how that hair is going to lift, so you know exactly what to use and how to get there. And say that they're not, you can already tell it's going to be a session job and you want to come back in multiple sessions, or if it really depends on their budget. They're going to spend the same amount regardless if it's multiple sessions or one day, but it's about what do they want to spend that day and what the time frame is. Because I can get you from black to blonde in one day, but it's going to take the whole entire day, like 10 hours, and it's going to cost you like $1,000. So do you want to spend that now, or do you want to break it up into 3 sessions? It just depends. And if they don't like what you have to say, then you just have to let them leave, because if they don't like that, then you don't want them. They're going to be a problem. That's the way I look at it. I definitely have been looking to build up my clientele to where I don't need to, I can't take on any new clients, so usually when they're coming in, I know exactly what they're gonna do. Although sometimes they do like to surprise you. Because I do mostly blondes, like especially the other day. I had somebody coming in that I was like, oh yeah, she's a regular blonde, just a face frame, it's fine. Well then she pulls out like all these like red and copper colors, and I was like, oh crap.
So, are you running into problems with Instagram? Because I sometimes have clients that come in and they bring me these pictures from Instagram and they're a level 1, and the person from Instagram has no pigment in their hair at all. They're like a level 21, and I know that whoever posted the picture on Instagram adjusted the color tone, because there's no possible way in the world, or they're wearing a wig. I mean, how do you explain to clients sometimes that their expectations are not possible?
Well, we kind of already just went over that. I was telling them about the session work versus doing it all in one day. Unfortunately, sometimes people do bring in like a picture of a wig or a filtered picture, or the lighting. If you can see a super bright shine on the hair and it's not like far away, like say it's like a picture this close up of the hair, you can already guarantee that they're using a spotlight or like a ring light or something. Also, you gotta look at the wall in the background. If the white wall is like blue, chances are they're probably using a filter. That's one of the major problems that I see a lot. So just explaining to the client that in different lighting, it's gonna look different. Different filters is gonna make it look different. You just, like I told them, you have to know what their comfortability is and yours, and being able to say okay, no to a client, and letting that client walk out the door.
Well, when it comes to saying no to a client and letting a client walk out the door, let's talk for a minute about one of the other really hard things that some of us have to do. And it is, when do you fire a client?
Oh, I got a story. So I typically will end up firing a client if, like, you don't have a client that you just dread doing. You see their books on their name on your books, and you're like, ugh, you should probably fire that client, because chances are you're not going to do a good job on their hair.
I would, but my son's right here.
And I tried firing you many times before, but here we are.
I know. I'm one of Catherine's clients too.
I had a client who, she was just a haircut, sweet older lady. Like, there's really nothing wrong with her. She wasn't ever rude to me, nothing like that. She just, I could do a haircut in 45 minutes. She would take me like an hour and 15 minutes. Because she was one of these, like, cut this, cut that, cut this, cut that. So every time she came in, I dreaded it. So finally, after I got built up enough, and she did pre-book her appointments, I got built up enough to where I kind of used the, I can't get you in any longer, but I have somebody great for you. Luckily, I work in a studio setting, so I can like refer to 29 different other stylists. That's one typical thing. Then there was another incident where I had a client who was a color retouch and a highlight. I got her beautiful blonde. She pre-booked with me, and then she tried to move for an appointment for her color retouch. I told her, I'm sorry, but I don't have anything for another 2 months. And she was okay with that. She had to be, she didn't really have a choice. So she moved her appointment, and then like I'm friends with a lot of stylists in the area, we all follow each other. I saw the back of her head on one of my friends' Instagrams, which is fine, cool, I don't really care, we both do great work. The only problem that happened was for her next appointment with me, she no-shows. So I go through my 48-hour cancellation no-show policy. I let her know. I start out with, hey, where are you at? It's 15 minutes past your confirmed appointment time. Nothing. 30 minutes, I was like, hey, just reaching back out. We might have to reschedule you. Nothing. So then after an hour, I give her a phone call. She didn't answer. So I wait another 30 minutes because I'm just that nice. It's now an hour and a half. I tell her, hey, I'm going to have to initiate my policy and charge your card 50% of the service. To which I finally got a text back that said, yes, which was confusing. So I charged her card and it was declined. So I called her back and I said, hey, you're not allowed to book with Blonde Rock Studios ever again. I'm really sorry, but I hope you have a good time finding somebody that, is better suited for you. So I don't hear from her for like a month. And then she comes back and wants me to fix her hair because I messed up her hair because she had to go to somebody else. It was like a whole thing. So like in the end, when you have a bad feeling about somebody or you know something's on your books that you don't want to do, like sometimes letting them go and being like, hey, you know what, this isn't really working out, but like I have a great stylist in mind for you, you know, sometimes it helps, because I avoided another situation apparently.
Yeah, sometimes it's really good to send people to other stylists. Whenever I see a red flag, you know, like somebody complaining, oh, no stylist has ever been able to get my hair right. Or this person that every time you do their hair, they just need a little change or some minor tweaks to it every time. For those people, I always use the, you know, maybe I'm not the right stylist for you, or I can't get you in right now, but I know a wonderful stylist for you. Her name is Catherine Campbell, and she's at Blowouts, and
That explains some of the people I got.
yeah, I send them over to her. One thing as stylists, we have to be aware of is that we're human. We have schedules, we have families, we have a business to run. While we should never hurt a client's feelings, sometimes we have to be blunt with them, and sometimes it means getting rid of them. It means cutting off dead weight. Now, when you're first starting out, sometimes you have to suffer a little bit. You have to be a little bit patient.
And with that haircut client, I for sure did for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes even when you're hiring educators, you suffer a little bit and put up with some of them.
Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, child, he's watching.
Just kidding, Raven.
We love you, Raven, wherever you're at, even though you're not here. Anybody in the audience have any problems with clients or problems trying to institute no-show policies? One thing that I see a lot and that I'm asked a lot about when I teach classes are no-show policies. A lot of you out there are having clients that are no-showing and then one to be rescheduled like the next day.
And I will say, having that no-show policy, like, I've never really had to initiate it, except the one time I did, it didn't work, obviously. But what it does is it's kind of like an asshole guard, you know? Like, people aren't going to show up that are rude.
Is there one of those for dating? I need one.
No.
No-show policies are a great thing to have, folks. I have one and I do use it. Now, do I let some of my older clients slide? Yes. Somebody comes to
You know
me
who's
with
going
an
to abuse
excuse.
it and not abuse it.
Exactly. Sometimes it gives me just a good reason to get rid of somebody. A lot of times what I'll say is, I may let her slide because she's a good client, I like doing her, she doesn't let it happen a lot. But I have some other clients that wait until the last possible minute. I have a 24-hour policy, so I'm a little more lenient than some of our people with 48-hour policies.
Hey man, I gotta know.
But I have people that will wait to that 24-hour and 10-minute mark, and then they want to reschedule. Like, hey, I'm right here, do you mind? And you don't want to be mean. And sometimes I'll have some leeway with it. But there are also other clients that I use that policy and do the, listen, I can't rebook you until it's been paid. You know, I charge 50% of the service. Now, if you want to pay that, I'd be more than happy to book you again. But what you don't want to have happen is somebody book you for colored highlights, keratin, and a haircut. And you mark out 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday. And all of a sudden you're sitting there in the salon going, blah, 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 blah.
That's what we did every Saturday.
Only Saturday nights when I'm home alone because I can't get a date. If you're single out there, so am I.
She's on Bumble, Tinder, OnlyFans, plenty of fish.
I don't know what Bubble
Farmers
is.
Only.
And I don't know what half those other things are too. Anybody have questions about clients, cancellation policies, or the techniques that she's using right now? At home, feel free to ask too. How about you guys? Anybody struggling or having questions or wondering how to deal with one of those other problems? You're very quiet audience today.
See, I'm to the point now where I have a clientele that, like, I super love. Like, they're very respectful. They know I'm pregnant, so, like, they know, like, my schedule is set. I think they're also afraid because they know if they, like, move it, they're not going to be able to get back in. But I have the kind of people that are like, hey, I need to reschedule my appointment. It's fine, charge me whatever. And I'm like, you're just rescheduling, and it's like 24 hours. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think I'm gonna have to tell all my clients that I'm pregnant. Maybe that will solve my problems.
They bring you breakfast.
clients, I'm pregnant. I mean, I like food. I like people actually call and reschedule. I mean, help me out. I mean, not COVID weight. Avocado?
Avocado. My baby's the size of an avocado, not just avocado.
Okay, mine's a little bit bigger than an avocado.
You got twins in there.
You gonna do some?
I don't like our audience today in the classroom.
Twins?
We can replace them. So what are you doing now, Catherine?
I'm just finishing up the top section. I wanted to still have a natural diffused look on top, not a lot of blonde. We want the blonde to be around the face, so most of the brightness is gonna be on the sides. In the back, that we're leaving more depth to it.
Yeah, so you do this a little differently than I do.
I do a lot of things differently.
Yeah, just a few. But I'm looking at this right now, and the way that you have the two sections meet, that you meet up to that. Do you ever find that, like, when you get to that last section, that it can be a little bit wonky trying to get it? And the other thing is the way you're folding your foils. Can you tell us a little bit about why you're folding your foils this way?
This is just how I was taught to do like a standard double fold. I've always done it that way. I think it predates to the old like Reynolds wrap foiling.
Back in the good old days.
Back in the good old days, back when everyone got Kelly Clarkson.
When we went to the grocery store and got Reynolds wrap.
So we got a question. How much do you charge for your cancellation policy?
48, that's the hours. 50% of whatever service they had booked. So
Same for me. If you're doing a $400 keratin, your cancellation fee will be $200. It'll be 50% of whatever the service was you have booked. 'Cause if I booked 5 hours, it's hard for me to fill that with less than 24 hours notice.
And especially for somebody that like works in a studio, if somebody does cancel with less than even 24 hours for that space, it's sometimes hard to fill it. Like people have lives too. They got kids to take to school and all sorts of stuff. So by having at least 2 days, I can put out there, hey, I have a spot open, who wants it?
That you putting out there? That got you in this whole pregnancy problem in the first place. So one thing that I will say, when it comes to cancellation policies, after a client's come in, I have them sign a contract. It has my rules on it. There's a contract. It's part of the initial consultation. Wow. Consolation that you have to work with me and not with Catherine. So during our initial consultation, we talk about their hair goals. I explain the rules for the salon and spa, and our cancellation policy and everything else. Another thing that really helps with are complaints. I don't know about you guys, but one thing that I see a lot of are stylists that talk about people in those damn Yelp reviews. That instead of calling the salon or calling you directly to talk to you about a problem or concern, they want to write some crazy review. And what I advise stylists when I'm teaching classes all around the world is to talk to your clients about how to talk to you in case there is a problem or a mix-up.
Now,
Luckily, I have no bad reviews, so I'm still good.
I don't even have a Yelp, but on a personal level, with the bad reviews, a lot of the times, like when people leave those super bad, like long reviews that are just going on and on and on and on and on, other clients see that and they're kind of probably thinking the same thing as you, like, whoa, she had a lot to say. Sometimes they come across as crazy, in my opinion.
Respond to the review in a professional manner. Do not go attacking the client.
And that's another thing I have to say is when you do attack the client, that's more of like something you're dealing with. That's a trigger for you. So you probably should figure out why it's triggering you so much too.
Take a deep breath before you reply to any review from a client. One thing that I've seen in 18 years in the industry is that when it comes to negative reviews, everybody's going to get some, except for me. I still have none. Let's keep it that way.
I've got 2 online.
But going ahead and addressing the review, talking about the problem, offering to fix it, if it's a reasonable request. Because you'll have people that will leave a review a year after the service, about a haircut that was done a year ago, and what can you do about a haircut that was done a year ago? You know, I run 5 salons right now, on top of teaching and doing hair. And sometimes we get some reviews from people where it's just insane. A lot of time a review comes from a disconnect because you didn't do a consultation properly. Maybe you thought, you know, their blonde was a level 10 type honey blonde, and they were thinking an ash blonde. Or maybe their version of blonde is a copper, and you had no clue. It was a language barrier.
And even if they show you a picture, what they could be looking at on the picture is different than what you're looking at. For me, a good example are balayages. Are they looking at the top, or are they looking at the bottom?
Pricing. Okay, you guys, a lot of times as stylists, we like to blame everything on the client. And it usually is the client's fault, just letting you know. But the truth of the matter is, one thing that a lot of you stylists out there are doing or not doing is a proper consultation. A proper consultation should address expectations between you and the client, should address the results, and it should also address pricing. I mean, Catherine, you're really good about doing consultations and discussing pricing.
I do with all my clients, even the
But
ones.
I've been in some salons where clients get to the register not knowing at all how much they're going to be paying, not even close. They get to the register and they're told, you know, $400 or $500. And there was no warning, you know, given to them ahead of time. And that's a problem in our industry. You know, I don't know about you guys out there and how much money you have in your bank account, but I know growing up, my mother was a single mom, had 4 kids. And if she ever went to the register and was handed a bill for $400, we probably wouldn't have eaten that entire month. So it's something that we have to take into consideration. I know it's important that we charge for our time and we know our value. But that being said, it's important that we share with clients what our expectation is about pricing.
So with pricing in a new client consultation, I will tell them, this is how much your service will be today. Is that okay with you? And they usually say yes. We've
Yes.
already waited like 3 months. But
Or you're finding a balance. You're gonna, okay, we can't do this today. Well, this can be a process. This can be a long-term goal, and maybe we only do a partial highlight instead of a full highlight.
And then at the end of the service, because usually when they come to me, they're doing the big service. And then at the end of the service, I let them know, you know, next time we'll just do a partial. And next time it'll be this much. And then I believe on my booking site, when you get your confirmation and you click on it, I believe it shows you what you're doing along with the price. So my regulars, they already know, they have an idea.
But especially with new clients, guys, I know for me, my haircuts start out, my women's haircuts start out at $85. So, but I have the
I
little
don't know why. Just kidding.
Oh no, she did. I had the little asterisk next to all my services that say this is a starting price. That doesn't mean that when a client comes in, I just expect they've memorized my entire portfolio of services. You know, let's go over how much her hair is going to be. Because there's a very big difference from this length and someone with hair down to their knees. Is there a question on that?
How do you explain or let your clients know that you're raising your prices?
Does McDonald's let you know when they raise their prices?
You're not McLovin it.
I don't explain.
I changed the pricing on my website.
Same.
And I'll be honest with you, the first time they come in after a price increase, I will usually honor what we've been doing if we have a regular schedule, and I'll let them know that the next time they come in after that, listen, prices of everything have gone up. It takes a lot of money to look this cheap. So prices got up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and honor what we've been doing for this visit, but just letting you know, going forward, you know, my prices have gone up 5 or 10% or whatever. And I go up every year. You should be doing that every year.
And see, I don't do percentages. I will do maybe a $5 increase on all services across the board, especially your bigger services or your main ones that you do a lot of. I will say though, I found that including my blow dry with a color retouch wasn't doing me any good. So I had to a la carte that pricing and start charging the same price for color retouch and then add on the blow dry.
Oh.
And I just let my clients know, hey, I'm going to have to do this because I'm actually losing money. But I'll honor it this time, but next time it'll be this much.
Can we all have a conversation about blow drying and blowouts? Because that right there, that's a trigger in our industry.
Yeah.
Come on, I know you've had it too. And I know most of you at home have with blowouts. Is a blow dry included in your color service? Is it not? How much do you add for it? Do you have to get the client's permission to do a blowout because you're adding, a certain amount onto the treatment? Can you really see how the color turned out if you don't blow dry the hair? So let's talk about how you handle it and how I do it.
With all my larger services, like transformations, they are gonna have the blow dry included because let's not fool ourselves. You wanna know how it looks. But for something like a color retouch on somebody I've been doing, which I only have 4 of those, I know how it's gonna turn out, but I will do a quick rough dry to decrease the amount of water in their hair, and you can still see how it looks, just in case there was a weird shift in tone.
So you include a rough dry.
But not even all the way. It's just to get the water out on the ends.
See, I struggle. The thought of sending somebody out of the salon with wet hair.
Well, try being pregnant and being there until 6 p.m. at night. Bye, Felicia, right out the door.
Girl, I'm not gonna try to get pregnant. Never mind. I don't have the ankles for it. Well, neither do you.
You can't see them right
Darn. Where do those ankles go? Anyways, sending people out with wet hair. It's something that we do struggle with. How much are your blowouts?
40.
Okay, well, my blows are 65. But 40, the industry standard right now is somewhere between 40 and 75.
I just don't have a lot of people that come in just for blowouts.
See,
Actually, I don't have any.
I have a lot of extensions.
Well, I have extensions, but they come in with clean dry hair.
No, see, they come in every week to get their hair blown out and stuff.
Oh, okay. I don't have hair like that.
And one of the problems that we have with that is, okay, so my blowout is $65. My basic color retouch starts at $80. How much is your color retouch?
60 without the blow dry.
Oh, okay.
It's 100 with the blow dry.
Okay. So I mean we're pretty close. See my present, we're pretty close.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I was having for a while was on color retouches. They started at 80. People were just getting a color retouch, not wanting to pay for a blowout, and because if it was color, I would always blow them out. That means I was only charging $20 for color. But why would you get a blowout when you could have color and a blowout for the same price? So it's something that I struggle with even now. And in the salons, we see clients that do that same thing. They expect their hair to be, blown out for free, and nothing in a salon is free. But you need to make it clear if you are charging for those blowouts. I encourage you again to discuss that in the consultation. So we're about to rinse our client out.
Do you shampoo the hair also, or you just blow dry the
Oh,
hair?
for a blowout, it's always shampoo, conditioner, and blowout. Always. Usually, to be honest with you, for a blowout, I'm going to clarify the hair unless I've just done the color, and it's normal shampoo. So how's she processing back there? We're about to go ahead and shampoo her?
I'm gonna rinse the sides out.
Oh, we're gonna rinse the sides out. Come on back, look.
Alright, you can go and back. Here, lift your head up.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Good. That's better.
So right now, you're just taking the sides out?
Yeah, because they're done. So I'm the kind of person that once something is done processing, I'll rinse it. Especially with lightener. That way you still get a really healthy blonde and one side's not over processed or whatever. go ahead and look to the right. No, the other right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alright, you can go back. Alright, now you look to your other right.
It still took me a second.
Right. Because I confused you that time. Okay, perfect. You can your head back. Let's see if these are done yet. They might be. We're gonna give those like 10 more minutes. Are you okay leaning back?
I'm fine.
Will you grab me like that brush that's over there on that white card? real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Hey, Charlie, number 2, the passport 2, too. So while we're waiting for the rest of the process, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of brush out those TZ lights. I'm gonna use some of the passport number 2 to do that. Just because I don't like brushing the TZ lights out. And since we're gonna shampoo anyway, this will help. But you can see even the open air pieces got a good amount of lift. A little warmer than the foiled pieces, but that's what we were looking for to create that dimension.
What did you just put in her hair?
Passport number 2. So it's gonna go through and kind of drive that passport 1 in a little further to the hair. You don't necessarily have to use the passport 2 in order for the number 1 to work, but it just kind of gives that extra little punch. Perfect. So now we're just gonna wait. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a towel and just throw it over her head to kind of hold in the heat. Are you okay leaning back like that?
I'm totally fine.
Okay. And then while that's finishing up, we'll just go back over there and talk about what we're toning with and why.
Vamos a peinar porque va a hablar acerca del toner.
Okay, so we all start with the starting level. She's a level 7. So I'm gonna go ahead and root her just so we have a good amount of depth in her hair with the 7-0. So she's a level 7. I'm gonna use a 7-0, the same as her natural, to really blend out the highlights. Since her hair will be damp and we're gonna be using double 10 volume, it's gonna look more like an 8 would. It's not gonna be this dark. It'll look more like this. So we're gonna do that, just something neutral. I don't wanna add an ash to it because we've already lifted her to white basically. And we want to still have a little warmth from the neutral in there. So for toning on the end, I'm gonna do equal parts of the 0-084. These are all at a level 10, but this kind of has a little coppery tones to it because we still want to keep it more on the warmer side because she's naturally warmer. We want a nice warm dimensional blonde. But I'm still gonna mix it with 0-090. Now this is a little bit of an ash, so it's gonna we're gonna have an ash and a little bit of a copper just to give us a nice like neutral in the middle blonde. Not too warm, not too cool. Those are my favorite. Yeah, if y'all wanna pass these around, y'all can take a look. So the 0-090 is an ash gray pigment, and then the 0-084 is the touch of copper. With the shadow root of the 7, but it's gonna look more like an 8.
Oh, okay. Mira, lo voy a poner.
Le voy a poner ese
Pero no voy a poner eso. Puntos. Ok. Para que no se vea clarito.
So you're gonna mix all together? All those?
One's gonna be the root formula and one's the ends.
Okay.
Porque está la misma leche. Ahí los tiene, ¿no? Sí, ahí están. Ahí están. Ese es para los Mira, cada row para el tren,
Yeah, it's pointed at the.
7 ceros para el crecimiento. El 7-0 con 30 volumen, con 30, pues hay volumen.
So while our beautiful model is processing, I wanted to invite all of you to the classes that we have. We have 3 live classes in person here at Salon Spa Wholesaler every Monday at 10 o'clock. So we're located at 8750 West Park Drive, right here in Houston. So you don't need to make a reservation, just come on into our classes. We have the live classes, and then we also have our classes online. So please come on into our live classes. Our schedule is on salonwholesaler.com. And let me show you one of our exciting new additions here at Salon Spa Wholesaler. And that is, I've gathered some of our newest brand, which is our New Jew brand. So these are our soft powder masks. We have 15 different masks. Great for facials, vajacials, chemical peels.
Para hacer mascarillas.
You're going to use a scoop and a half of powder to about a scoop of water. Give it about 15-20 minutes to dry. That's under our New Jew brand. We just recently launched a lash and brow tint. So it's available in light brown, dark brown, and midnight black, also under the New Jew line. And then we have our wax selection. So we have a variety of hard waxes, soft waxes, and roll-on waxes available. All of these are brand new here at Salon Spa Wholesaler, and they're under our New Jew brand. So for those of you that are doing waxing or thinking about adding waxing, we have a class December 6th here. It's my world famous Wax That class, where we have 2 male models and 2 female models, and during that class, we wax everything. We start in the front, the top of the head, we work our way down, we flip them over, and we wax the whole body. And I mean HOLE. So come on in, December 10th, or December 6th. It's the first Monday in December. Come to our wax class, and make sure you come to some of our other classes that we have here. So,
Do they need to bring anything for any of the classes?
no. Our classes, our majority of them are in English. We have a few that are in Spanish. They're on the schedule. All of our classes, we have Spanish assistance if necessary. So even if your English is not very good, we always have some people here that can translate for you to help make sure you understand. So let's go back to our model, who's being rinsed a little bit more now. Kathy, you want to show us what you're doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab some books first.
Okay. Bring it first.
Whisper bleach in the room next to my hair, and the color just runs away.
Do what? Like,
I said you whisper bleach in the room next to my hair, and the color just runs away. My hair lifts usually
I
pretty
get what you're
easily.
saying.
Sorry.
I was
Kinda-
like, wait a minute, let me think about
Kind of
this.
like LaCroix or whatever. Like if
It's not. It doesn't taste like anything. It's just like
you
someone's
shout watermelon
wafting
in the
it.
room next to you.
It's like you're thinking about watermelon while you drink it.
Right.
Oh, you're fine. You don't have to lean up. I found it. I found it. So the rest of our foils have looked good now. So we're just gonna pull them out and we're gonna shampoo her. I'm gonna use the Kara RX detoxifying shampoo just to make sure we got all the whitener out and she has nice clean service for the toner and the shadow root. So I don't know if you want to like come in a little closer so people can see the tone. I don't know, I always like a really nice oil pool. Most of my clients I do like, you know, they want ash blonde, but we're gonna have to put some warmth back into yours.
I didn't specify, so I'm like, don't surprise me.
I'll be fine, it's fine.
It's whatever.
So what kind of shampooers are y'all? Are y'all like scrubbers? Are y'all more like making love to their head? My studio partner, she's a scrubber, so she'll be like this.
Yes, I'm a scrubber too.
I'm more like, I like it better when they like make love to your head. Cause I remember like growing up and going to like Visible Changes and stuff, and they would shampoo like that. And this one lady was like banging my head on the shampoo bowl. All right, so we did one little once over. I'm just gonna barely rinse out some of this. And we're gonna grab some more, just to make sure everything's nice and squeaky clean. So when I shampoo, I like to put the shampoo all around the hairline and then kind of work my way inward.
Do you usually send your clients with any at-home care for something like this?
Yeah, you can go lean back here. I'll usually recommend like a sulfate-free shampoo and like a moisturizing conditioner. Again, I don't include it in my pricing. I just recommend it, and then they have the option to buy it if they want to. I'm not also like a super pushy product person, because to be completely honest, we don't really make a whole lot off of products anyway. I have them though, like I have the products that I like and stand by. So my clients are like, well, do you have something that you really like? I'll be like, yeah, everything that's here. And I find once you just like educate them, then they'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, I should grab that. I used to have one client that used Pantene, or no, Tresemme, and she couldn't for the life of her figure out why her hair was dry all the time. So finally I was like, well, what are you using at home? And when she told me, I was like, oh, well, that's why.
So Tresemme, dry hair.
Yeah, well, because most of those things like Tresemme, I keep doing that. That's not the trash, is it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's okay.
All the florals in
It's all good.
I'm putting it as a bonus.
We'll fix it later.
Okay, let's head back over there. So a lot of those shampoos are gonna have silicones in them, like not water-soluble silicones. So over time, like the first shampoo or two, yeah, your hair feels great because it's got all this wax in it now. But over time, that wax is gonna harden and build up, causing like hair loss and dryness. And recently, a lot of those hair companies also have DNVM in their products, which is a formaldehyde releaser, and it's causing people's hair to fall out. So there's like a class action lawsuit against a lot of those. And even though, like, there was one brand, that OXG brand, that I was like, they're pretty good. No, they're also on that list. So I was like, oh, dang it, well, that sucks. It's just best if you're going to spend that much money on your hair, just invest the extra $50 for a good shampoo and conditioner. It's gonna make a world of difference. And most professional products, you don't have to use a lot of anyway, unless you're heavy-handed with it like I am. But usually, like a dime size does fine.
Please.
So for most of my shadow roots, especially for partials, you don't use a lot. So we're only gonna mix up like 15 grams. And then we're gonna use 30 grams of 6 volume. All right, I lied, it's 18 grams, but still. Six volume. Because when you have 10 volume, you're still gonna get like a half shade of lift, and we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we have no lift. I'm gonna use like a pretty big wide brush for her shadow root.
cero, y la buscamos así, cero, 8, 4, 0, 15 gramos, sí, 15 gramos. Sí, esto es para más, para el crecimiento, aquí les pongan las puntas. No, el del crecimiento, saquen en la caja azul. Es el 7, 15 gramos y 30 de volumen 6, que es útil. Y aquí van las puntas donde dice N, son las puntas. Que viene siendo este y este. Con 6, con número 6, o bien número. Okay.
Alright, so we have our shadow formula that's at 0. And remember we talked about how that's gonna look more like an 8-0 because we are applying it on top of pretty white hair. And then we also have our end formula where we're gonna be using the 090 and then the 084. So a little mixture of coppery hue with an ash.
Quiero un pote de roots, passport? No.
We're already using 6 volume and we've already used passport and the lightener, so I'd rather not use it this time.
Oh, okay.
Plus, with the shadow root, I only mixed up 15 grams, so it's kind of hard to figure out.
Okay.
Because for the color, you only use like 1.5 per 10, so that'd be like I don't think I could really measure that out properly.
Sí, sí, en el tinte no puse passport. En el tinte.
Hey, can you grab me like a comb? Like a, not something super fine, but like, you know. If you can find more like a,
Where's this one?
yeah, that'll work. Thanks. I'm just gonna lightly tap.
¿Venden otra marca o solo?
We're only gonna take it about an inch down on the shadow. And the reason why I like using this brush is because it gives us a good amount of coverage. Here, I'm about to turn her. So you don't want to get too much product on the brush, just enough to cover that inch space. And try to avoid the ends. And since she has the bangs, we're gonna do things a little differently than I normally would. Normally, I part down the middle and I do the shadow root all the way to the front piece and then I leave out like my money piece. But with bangs, you can't really do a money piece because that would be like underneath the bangs. So we're gonna just shadow root her a little differently. And I will show you all that when we get there. I got one side done with the shadow root. So you can see in the back we don't have a lot to cover, but I still want to come down and I like doing the teardrop shapes, so we won't just do an inch here. We'll do the first inch and really saturate and then kind of like brush it down. And then we'll do this other side. So now that that's all applied, we're gonna go ahead and just do a little comb through. And then apply our ends. And this technique is good for like any type of dimensional blonde you want to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be these colors. Like this is a good one for pretty much anybody. Like let's say if she were like a level 5, I would probably shadow root with a 4. And then do her mids with a 7 and then the ends like an 8. Working around in the same pattern to the other side. I'm pretty excited to blow dry it because she already has like some natural highlights running throughout it too. Yeah, stay in your lane, bangs. All right, now we're gonna grab a piece of foil, lay it over these hairs so we can do the bang area. So I'm gonna do a, like, I guess kind of like a mohawk a little bit. Taking our comb, and here I'm going to apply the ends first. Just to make sure we get those filled. And then we'll go through and just kind of like a color retouch on the top, on the little root area. Perfect. And now we wait 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions now that we're done with this part? We will just wait.
En la tarde, después de que llegue
It's done. What's done is done.
You want to see a picture of a haircut Jared Maya gave me in like 2008?
Yeah.
We've known each other a long time. This picture.
Was it back when he was in beauty school?
I think way back within the Facebook archives.
It's cute. It's very that time. I will say that.
Well, I have a picture of him in a mohawk. Like, he used to rock
When I
that
met him, he had
seriously.
a blue like mohawk thing.
Yeah.
2006.
Oh,
¿Cuánto le cuestan estos colores?
How much is the price for the gas color?
For that one,
Yes,
I believe it's $5.50.
$5.50. And the
It's
other
five
one,
something, $5.25 or
and the
$5.50.
other one is $4.50, right?
I think it's $4.20.
$4.20.
Y-
$4.20. Algo.
They have the price tags out there. I'm not like 100%.
Ah, okay.
¿Y para cubrir canas son los mismos?
Son los naturales, sí, son unos que tienen 0 ceros.
Oh,
Es $4.99 y $5.50. El de la caja azul es $4.99.
$4.99 esos del azul.
Sí, de la caja azul y la blanca $5.50.
pero sí,
Sí los cubre.
toques
Ajá,
y sí cubre.
sí cubre. El 0 cero. Ricardo,
Vale.
¿es verdad que el 0 cero cubre las canas?
100%, sí.
100%.
100% great
Mira,
coverage.
estos, naturales. Estos son los que dan doble pigmento.
¿Son los únicos?
Sí, es 0 ceros. Cuando son 0 ceros, pues están cargados de pigmento para cubrir canas. Este sí tiene, pero no te las cubre muy bien, pero esto sí, 0 cero. Y está barato. Porque mira, ¿cuánto te sale el otro? El otro te sale como a 8, ¿verdad?
Casi.
Ujú. Y estos son 60, creo que son 60 gramos. ¿O
Sí,
90?
es más color por un precio más bajo.
Sí,
Sí, misma calidad y todo.
ajá, sí.
La razón por la que podemos ofrecer el precio tan bajo en el color es porque somos la única distribuidora de ese color aquí en Texas. Sí.
60 grams, right?
Ujú.
60 gramos.
¿Cuál es el nombre del color?
Dígame. Sí. Buenas tardes. Dígame. Sí. Traer a esa muchacha a la una necesita. Lo que pasa que estoy ahorita en la escuela. Si pudiera a la una está bien. Sí. Sí, ahí estoy. Oh, usted va a la Galaxy, sí. Sí, la que está ahí, sí. Pues ahí estoy cerquita. Antes, ¿sí puede estar antes de la una? Sí. Oh. Sí, la deja a las 12:30 y se va para allá para que empiecemos a la 1. Digo. Sí, claro que sí. Ok, entonces ya tiene la dirección, ¿verdad? En la tarjeta. En la tarjeta está la dirección. Sí, ahorita se la mando. Ok. Ok, a la 1, por favor. Ok, va.
I guess I should set up the blow dryer and whatnot.
No, sir. Not here. You looking for a minute? Oh.
Avocado size is like, what, 16 weeks?
To the day.
Nice. I was guessing, like, I was just like trying to remember.
That was a good guess. That was really good. I'm impressed.
I used to have like no idea. And then, yeah.
You know, I have a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
so like I kind of forgot all that stuff.
Yeah, mine turns 3 in January. But before that, I worked for a midwife, like as a assistant, and then I've done some doula work and stuff too. But I was never good at like guessing ages or gestational ages at all until after I had her. Congratulations.
Thanks. It's like, I'm like, am I gonna remember how to do everything?
Yeah.
Is it like riding a bike?
I think it's more or less like riding a bike, right? Like that's what instincts are supposed to be for,
Yeah,
in theory.
I wasn't sure, but I did babysit my friend's kid, and he was like, at the time was like 9 months old,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up having like RSV.
Oh, yikes.
So like the whole time I'm watching him, I'm texting her, I'm like, hey, something's like wrong with him.
Yeah, but this is bad.
And she was like, no, you just do this. I'm like, yeah, I've been doing those things, and it's like not working.
This is not bad.
So finally I was like, y'all need to come home because I can't handle this any longer. Like I don't know, like this is not my baby. I don't want to like do something wrong, you know?
And you don't want to take RSV home to your
Yeah.
kids? Like,
Well, I don't think he was, luckily, I don't think he was contagious because he didn't have a fever.
okay.
He just like kept wheezing and then like coughing and waking himself up and crying.
Oh, so bad.
But he like wasn't getting enough oxygen or something. But yeah, like for the most part, like everything I did with him, I was like, okay, so yeah, it does kind of just like come back. and back. Is that too hot? I feel like it's burning. No? No? Just me? I'm sensitive? Okay.
I mean, it like might be hot, but my hair's thick, so like by the time it gets to my scalp, it's not.
It's not hot. Okay. Just as long as you're not like, oh my god, that's hot.
Nope.
It should be comforting.
Like those memes of like women in the shower and they're just a skeleton on fire.
I like to be a lobster burning.
Yeah. For real though, my girlfriend likes to shower like 1 billion degrees.
Yeah. Because you just want your entire skin to melt off.
I found like I wasn't like that before having a kid, and then like after having a kid, I was like, I want to be like a lobster in a freaking boiling pot.
I feel like I went the opposite way, where my
Really?
showers are less hot now. But that may just be because there's less time and more toddler.
More kid.
So this is the June Saffron Rose shampoo and conditioner. Super moisturizing, but without being too heavy. let's go get you dried and styled. The bangs just go like right in the middle.
Yeah, just right down the front.
Yeah.
Qué bonito. Está bueno, no sé cómo.
So I'm gonna spray a little bit of the Fixie Booster. It's a volume texture spray, just to give her some little lift throughout. And then we'll be using the saffron hair elixir on her ends to give her some shine and moisture. I'm not really gonna spray this on her bangs because we don't really need texture there. Don't want those flying around everywhere.
Somebody asked, like, Zoe Deschanel a long time ago, like, how do you make your bangs? And she's like, just never touch them with any product ever.
Pretty much.
Everywhere else, fine. Bangs, never.
I think the oil from your like forehead should be enough to like
It
get those
does.
to lay down.
Always.
I always have this dream that I'm gonna have like Taylor Swift bangs, but I don't have her hair, so they just look like wispy, you know?
Yeah, right.
They are not for me. So to dry her bangs, I'm going to use a comb and kind of move them side to side so we don't get like volume to her bangs. gonna give her a quick little wave, but you can already see she's super blended, yet a little bit more dimensional with a little sparkle in the bangs.
Take your word for it.
I know, right? I don't have a mirror either.
Right here.
What does that look like? Yeah.
Oh, the hair looks good too.
Nice dimensional blonde, and it'll grow out nice and easy too.
That's my hair working, as you noticed when you saw my hair.
Low maintenance is key for a lot of people. A lot of people, they don't want to be coming into the salon every like 6 to 8 weeks. I find a lot of my clients are more like 12-weekers.
The last time I got it was March.
Yeah, there we go. So you're more of like a 72,000 weeker.
Twice a year,
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay. Sounds like the door opening in a horror movie.
Right?
You're gonna look so fancy.
No, just go from here to work.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions about anything? Or you feel like pretty confident about it?
Yes. I really like the color.
It's like nice and subtle.
Yeah.
Now, if they have like blonde already, it would obviously make like a bigger, dramatic one. Or even like if they have a balayage that's grown out, this is good for that too. Or you can even reverse it. Like say they have a bleach out, you can do like the same pattern, but like it has a low light to kind of break up the old blonde if they wanted to, you know, go back more natural. It's pretty versatile. You're welcome.
Can I take a look at it? Those
Yeah.
We're still recording. I was like, I almost said something back, and I was like, wait, no, hold on.
Wait, we're still live. Don't say anything.
Give it live. When you were doing the bleach and the foils, like I was falling asleep, which I think was kind of obvious. But
Yeah, I
it's
noticed.
kind of-
You were like doing the nod.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's a long night.
Well, especially when you're a model, you just have to sit here and not talk.
Right.
Can definitely see that happening.
Sound?
That is fun
Cool.
sound.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Honestly, hold it in the front. I can't even see
Oh,
it.
like that. No, wrong angle still, or it's okay?
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, parts of it take a curl really well, and parts of it are just like, And then if I like wash it and treat it like it's curly,
Here, hold it up again. Yeah.
then it behaves like it's curly and it curls.
There you go.
Cute, pretty. Thanks.
You're so fancy,
It
man.
looks fresh.
Ta-da.
Ta-da!
Alrighty, big thank you to our educator, Catherine, today. Make sure everyone follows her on Instagram at Cat Blantourage. And make sure you stay tuned. Every Monday we've got class here. Free class in person, free class online.